Okay, greens. Okay. All right, connect to the unknown. Like the entity I connected to a couple of days ago. So just like a continuation of it, kind of like connected to like the tree energies are connected to it. It's also has a feline connected. Of course, it's connected to all kinds of stuff. Yeah, feline energies and reptilian, but of course, also the tree energies. This can be also very welcoming, but also some of these forests are a little bit, you can easily get lost in them. Let's put it that way. Yeah, they're portals that trees aren't always the kindest energies. So there's a lot of lost people or a lot of lost children, missing persons in forests, things like that. So of course that's not necessarily the tree energy. So that's why this is entities in general. Again, nothing better to do. And that's always going to happen as long as the world is at this frequency. It's part of its DNA currently. Um, you know, until we start hugging each other, and of course, even if this world is like extremely positive, it can still have its dark side. So you're like, they'll say, oh, well, this is ninth dimensional Earth. We can also have a ninth dimensional darkness about it too. So that just hides. So we're just in the physical. At least we can see darkness here to a certain level. Of course, not everybody's seeing it. That's for damn sure. Yeah, they wouldn't be part of the certain groups that they're part of. So they're spiritual, soul-sucking groups. So yeah, this is entity that's it says it's guarding the planet, but it's more doing it for selfish reasons. Well, if you're an entity that thinks it knows everything and can grab on anyone's, nobody quite understands you, especially when people are trying to worship it and things like that. There is tree worship, which is interesting. Most Celtics, yeah, that makes sense. And also dragon realms are DNA energies. Yeah, that you can create a wizard through DNA, through dragon DNA, which makes sense. The specific wizard beings, of course, is also sorceress. Sorceress energies is connected to DNA, dragon DNA. So yeah, it makes sense why it's a sacred DNA throughout them. Of course, on a third dimensional level, what is that? But actually, some people are wizard people here, so they do have abilities, so that they can reproduce. So that's when you create your own. Sometimes, because it can jump a generation. Like a child of a wizard can be not so wizardry, and then the grandkids can be more powerful, things like that. So there is a wizard DNA that's already, or sorceress wizard DNA that's already out and about. So at least that's at least you can grasp that on a physical level. Of course, there's another fourth dimensional level that you don't necessarily need to go into. DNA farms comes to mind, but either way. This came to mind too, probably because I'm doing some clearing energy about the, which I didn't even think of, which, you kind of know this stuff, but don't really have the words for it. Like if you're raised by difficult parents or family, we'll just say parents, and some of them are dark entities. I know I grew up in that. They see it as a ritual, is what I received, and you come through because it's like you get some of their knowledge, but of course they're out for the kill too. They're out to kill you too. It's like you retain their knowledge, but they're can you survive them? You wonder why some parents are just monsters. I mean, I grew up in that situation. Like, really just F you, basically. But they're still like alive and well. It's like, it's kind of spooky. It's like, geez, like you're doing too well. It's like, well, what? They're like creatures. It's like something out of like a Jim Henson monster movie. So, but yeah, it makes sense of, yeah, they're just, the more we start to realize what kind of world we're in, obviously it's not for everybody. But so you chose to incarnate within like devil parents, and you retain, you get their knowledge, you get power. Of course, you have your own knowledge also, but you're kind of mixing it with theirs. Like you're like their arm, like you're getting their armory. We have your own power, but you're just getting a little bit more. Like you can do more here in some ways, but it's like you're getting your own magic potion power here, but they're doing everything you can to kill you. I've experienced that throughout your life because they know how dangerous you can be. It's like something out of a fantasy movie. It's just on a third to physical level. Not everybody goes through this, but there's a good amount that do. They know who they are. Let's put it that way. It's not for everybody, but yeah, it's like it's on a more physical plane, you know, reality. But if it was more fantastic, like you saw, like if your parents shooting you with the lasers or something, at least they give you more insight. But this is more toned down. But as we go more into we just survive everything. Yeah, it's like it is a game to some level. You get to a certain level, they can't get to you anymore. Well, sometimes. It's definitely a mental war for sure. But yeah, it is a life and death situation being here. At least for some of us. Others don't have to always go through it. But some of us are like, geez, it's like surprised you haven't lasted this long. Let's see here. Where's time.com? 5 sessions. A scheduler, a shop here, and that's that. So, trying to get back. So, okay. All right. Okay. Are we going to the tree being? We're just connecting more of the outside of it to get not necessarily going to channel its energy specifically. It's like a selfish frequency. We get some more insight to it, maybe from the feline perspective of it. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's pretty much like a creature energy. Yeah, and the dragon frequency. So, okay, all right, blessings. Greetings, we have a few lines. There are entities that take our DNA while we offer it. Yes, you can do as you wish with it. But we do see what they become. And so DNA is also like a way of communicating with other beings. And you can use it for different reasons. You can use this for communicating or for controlling. Just like a television is used for entertainment or mind control. DNA is done the same way. Of course, a lot more you can do with DNA, but that's just a short version of it. So the entities, like usually we can pick up on the entities that are using it for their own advantage. And be surprised. It's kind of like you have like a bazaar. You have your feline DNA everywhere. It's like some of it's very exotic, some of it's kind of plain, and beings, entities take what they feel, that will work with them. Sometimes it sabotages them and they don't know what the hell they're getting themselves into. And others use it to manipulate. And usually we can pick up if that's what they're going to do. We can usually see it quite a ways. But, that's part of the journey of existence. Like there are places in the universe that are very extremely neutral. And it's all about, growth. So think of it that way, almost like a tree of life, but it's DNA energies. There is reptilian realms that in the dragon realms are very careful of guess who receives their knowledge because it can be misused. A lot of it can't even be understood. Even the reptilian beings can't figure themselves out. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you wonder why certain creatures come out of the reptilian realms. And yeah, ghouls, creatures, like it's a forbidden, or just not necessarily forbidden, but just it's like an unknown entity in a lot of ways. It's just, there's just certain DNA that's used, well, because the reptilian can connect much with the physical realms. So just like you say, think of it like the astral realm doesn't want you to know all about it, how it works. There's always a realm that knows about it, but they don't say anything about it. It's like you figure it out. So, but as for this tree entity or creature being that feels like it knows everything and wants to control reality, it's actually a youngster, but still very old and not understood. Well, how entities connect to your world, they just, you can say, sneak in. But they do have people here that they are magnetized. Like think about it, these entities are on across the universe, like completely just have no idea your planet even exists. But on a telepathic level, somebody they know from some realm, like they pick up on their knowledge, their frequency, and they get drawn to your world, for example. And it's like they're being welcomed in. It's like welcoming, just an entity to your Christmas party ends up kind of taking over the place. Or, well, let's put it this way, it's quiet when it comes in, but all of a sudden everyone's fighting. So it's like a shadow being. So, but someone let him in, and that's Mother Earth doesn't always have a control over that. There is free will there. And you can say Mother Earth is aware of what's happening, but in some ways she's curious to see what happens, and others times she's like, oh, nobody's going to like this one. So there are times when even the angels themselves shut the doors of the earth. But there are entities that are here that the world needs to learn from. I mean, if you're going to go into this higher frequency realm, there are certain challenges that you need to go through to get there. Well, to stay there. You can go in the higher dimensions all you want, but it doesn't mean you'll last very long. So that's one thing about this world. That's why it's so slow. There's no hurry. Well, you take knowledge you learn from here and take it to other places too. So this world, yes, can stay the way it is for a very long time. It's not going anywhere. And you take this knowledge to other planets to teach them how to raise their frequency, how to keep it that way, how to keep entities out that you don't want, or keep them all out, the ones that are stragglers. Because you can have a planet that's very safe, but also very wise. Now, not all higher dimensional worlds, as some of you know, are that wise. Yeah, you might be higher dimensional, but you don't know what you're doing. It's like you have a credit card, but you're spending it all the time. You have all these luxury items, and you're high on cocaine, and you're not paying attention to who's coming and going in your home or in your life. So there's worlds like that, and many of you experience that. This is one of them, but there's others. But this world has just an aspect of so many different world realities. But the entity here is, kind of like a punk. It wants to be known, but then it does not. It just wants to show everyone what it has, like what kind of knowledge it has or how intelligent it is. But it realizes the human ego won't let it leave either, because you can kick out a lot of these entities, but so many people get victimized by it and they go through their own trials, and then this next thing you know, you have a million entities here that don't want to leave, and you're going through that now. Eventually you'll have a clean sweep of this world. Basically all those straggling entities will leave, but once again society has to get to a level where it can clean up its room on its own. I think of, like, some of you are mature with your abilities, but these kids that are here, are not listening. And these are other people. They feel like they know everything, but their house is a mess, or their lives are a mess, for example. And it's like you can only do so much with that. Yeah, you might come in to clean things up, but then they just mess it up because what's the point? So they're doing it on a worldwide level. So, but also you realize what your own boundaries. You want to get pulled in and everyone's sucking off your energy, or you just want to do, bring your knowledge here and just let them clean up their own mess. So, as you know, especially those that have kids, your kids are going to bring in all kinds of, strange friends or animals, whatever it is that might be questionable, and that's something they have to go through. Yes, you can tell them not to do it, you can tell them this, beware, but it's still up to them. And think of that on a planetary level. Greetings, we are the dragons. There are dragon beings that will not talk to your world ever, because does it deserve a conversation? I mean, it's like you have to spook their interests. There are many dragon beings watching your planet, keeping a lot of stragglers out, and just letting you do whatever you want to do. Yes, wreck the place to a certain level. Yes, there will be some interference there. But basically, consciousness keeps this world going. Yes, there's a lot of radical people here selling humanity on some kind of narrative. And the thing is, the idea is hands off. Let you guys figure it out. Until it's like, when you have to use the parent detail, the point of view. If the parent's always saving you, what do you learn? See, this is why this is happening here. It's like, and you don't have to necessarily call them gods, or they're just entities that are, aware of what's happening here. And they're not about to take you as. So you wonder why these scam artists and all that are here. It's because, once they put their claws in, now you have to go through its process. Now, yes, they can be removed, but what good with that? What people learn? Oh, look, the one I gave my soul to is gone now. And they just think about it forever. It's like, sometimes it's better just to leave them there. We leave the creature there and let people just go through their process. And if they need to be soul sucked by that being, so be it. And so, you have to learn somehow. Yes, and this can take you to several lifetimes until you learn. Yes, you can become a parent. Sometimes you need these soul-sucking entities as a parent for you to realize, wow, this person's a scumbag. You might have them as a relationship. You might have them as a brother or sister, and it's still not enough. You need it as someone to really, really kind of put that dagger into. So you see, some of these spiritual teachers, there's much more to that, but some of the, for example, the spiritual teachers that are just horrible, and you know it. But there's many that are worshiping that energy, so they have to learn for how many lifetimes they need to go through. And yes, there are many here that feel like they're more advanced than they are. And then they go through that process, and they do eventually become advanced to some level. Maybe that's the level they think they are. Well, they get more real with themselves, but it might take several lifetimes when they get there. But right now, they think they're kids in a candy shop. And so until the sugar overdose comes back to them, that can take lifetimes. You can go a lifetime being completely blind, and so be it. I mean, you have guides, you have angels, they're all telling you things, but who's listening? So, but, oh yes, as for creating wizard energies, usually wizard people don't want to have children. Usually, first of all, they'll be a terrible parent. They're just not a parenting being. They're like parenting the planet. And the last thing they do is parent a kid. If they have parent a kid, it's like, the kid's going to so hate me for everything. And sure enough, it does happen that way. A lot of times. So usually not wizard people are not always the best parents because they're busy doing. It's like having a scientist as a parent. It's like but they're very connected to the earth. They can see it through different realms and understanding a kid is like a whole nother that's a whole nother different art incarnation. But it's also for usually children are there to ground the wizard being. So, but it doesn't mean they have to get along with each other. But dragon frequencies, yes, you can say it's part of the physical realms, like the stage. That's part of it. Well, it helps human life or any life to be formed here. Yes, cats have, even dogs have reptilian energies, along with the human. Now, you don't always have to have that in a physical realm. For this one, you're basically connected to the knowledge of the dragon that you're not fully accessing yet. Now, it doesn't mean if you access the dragon knowledge, everyone's going to be peaceful and loving. And that's not always the case. You're connecting more to your power because a lot of that power was turned off in the past, but you still have a lot of mental power. It's just the physical human is still very weak, which is probably a good thing. If you can fly and do all these things, this world is capable of handling it, but doesn't want to go through that. You'd be surprised how many want to fly, and it's like, gosh, please don't do that right now. They don't always necessarily make the best decisions, let's put it that way. But you are going into a realm where the magical arts are more well known. Doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing, but eventually humanity will recognize it again. It did in the past, and it was shut down due to technology, but it's resurrecting itself. But it's not an easy experience, as many of you have noticed. The entities that want to kill you, and yeah, because you're connected to sacred timelines that can affect others on a massive scale. There's doors you have to go through to incarnate to make major changes here. It's like having a key where you can unlock other doors. But you have to incarnate within difficult people to get it. Yes, and they will try to kill you because they don't want you here at all. But they say, so be it. They agree upon it, but they're not going to make it easy for you. They're going to hate you. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They don't really care, to be honest with it. And do they get karma for it? Not necessarily, because they're part of they like the power that they have. So the entities that control darkness here, they feel, they don't want to change. What for? They feel like they're gods here, and technically they are to some level. Well, they're haunting you, aren't they? It's like, look who incarnated through my energy. Yeah, I got them by the throat. So I must be somebody. I must be somebody of some kind of importance for you to show up here. Not that I want you to live very long. So, but this will help some of you recognize your own origins to some level. Yeah, for obviously the main public will have difficulties digesting a lot of this. And are they meant to? No. Why? Some of you are having trouble processing all this. Even on a world, this world's not on a massive scale. No, it never is. There's always going to be. It's obviously there's going to be entities that feel like they're ready, but there never are. So maybe you feel like you are until you get a speeding ticket. It's never that good. So, but you are going to see more of the spells and how the realms operate here. So I'll leave you with that.